Okay, this morning, fitting piston rings. First, I'm going to fit a stock style piston ring. Then I'm going to fit a total seal piston ring into a fresh bore. This block is not a fresh bore, it's just a dingleberry hone that's already 30 over. The stock style ring is a Hastings, which is a Molly, and it's a 30 over. About $100 a set. Same thing with the Seal Power. They're pretty user friendly. They're marked with dots, which wind goes up. There's a dot right there. And the gaps are usually pretty good out of the box. So if you look at my trusty book, it wants 10 to 20 on top compression and bottom compression. So that's real good. This one over here, I've already installed them all. I've already checked the gaps, and the keyword here is check the gaps. And they're between 15 and 16 thousandths, which is great. So these are pretty much drop-in ready, but of course you do have to verify. On the other hand, over here on Charlie Gaudette's block, these are not drop-in ready. You see I put them in differently. See how it's overlapping? It won't go in. If I cock it a little bit, I can get the end right there, the butt, and then that's overlapping. So these are 25 thousandth rings and a 20 thousandth bore. So that means I've got to take off 5 thousandths to get to 0, and then I got to take off my actual clearance. These are expensive AP Total Seal piston rings. These are actually coated ones. Super duper high dollar rings. Supposed to seal up real good. I want to say they're almost $300 for a set of rings. Not every engine needs this. These piston rings are not marked, so you have to read this paper. You have to look at the different types of rings. The top ring is this type. It has a chamfer facing to the top. Phone's not going to show us that very well, but I've marked them all. Okay. The bottom ring has a chamfer facing in. Again, I've marked these as well. This is where ring gaps get really builder specific. Builders like what they like. I'm not going to tell you what I like because I don't want to start a storm. I will just give you the information. You make your own decision. So this sheet of paper here, which you're not going to be able to read, says for street strip, bore times 0.0045, about 17 thousandths, top and bottom. Mid boost times 7, about 27 thousandths. High boost, 8 thousandths, 31 thousandths. This is what this sheet is telling you for this ring. Like I said, it's going to vary based on your builder. Defer to him. The next thing about piston rings is not to forget your oil rings. Your oil rings go in either direction. There's not a up, there's not a down. But you need to fit them and make sure they fit and have the appropriate amount of drag. Make sure you've been given the right size. Thanks for the tip about that one there, Bison. Got to check that stuff. And then lastly, when they're all gapped up and ready to install, pay attention to your gaps. Piston rings are pretty fragile, so be careful. It's always best to use a pair of these pliers. Relatively cheap. Or you can do them the old-fashioned way, which I've done for years, but the pliers are the best way. So there's some piston rings differences between a stock type and a custom forged piston build.